Brett Favre.
New text messages show the pressure former NFL quarterback Brett Favre was putting on then Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant. Favre requested money for an indoor football practice facility
from one of the state's most famous sons that allegedly have him caught up deep in the scandal. NFL Hall of Famer Brett Favre is facing questions tonight of whether he knowingly took $5 million of state welfare money to build a new volleyball facility for his daughter's team 5 years ago at her university and his alma mater.
So listen, one of those text messages from 2017 published by Mississippi Today, let's go ahead and show that to you. It shows that Brett Favre asked the head of a nonprofit handling welfare funds, quote, "If you were to pay me, is there any way that the media could find out where it came from and how much?"
No, not that. This.
I thought we met a long time ago. At least I saw you.
Right.
How you doing?
When you fell down for him. I'm going to get my sack back. I'm going to get my sack back, dude.
You probably would hurt me.
Well, I don't care. You hurt me. You hurt me. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
You really hurt me. You hurt me, Brett.
We got to get back to this, Brett. I'm sorry.
Let's pause here. The man on the right, Mark Gastineau. Man on the left, of course, Brett Favre. So who is Mark Gastineau? He played in the National Football League from 1979 to 1988. In 84, he broke the single-season sack record when he put up a gaudy 22 for the season. Fast forward to 2002, Michael Strahan sat at 21.5 sacks, meaning he was a half sack away from tying Gastineau's record. And let me be clear, what happened next was controversial, and it remains that way many, many years later. While Favre would insist he did not dog it, what many don't remember is he changed the play from a run to a pass. Per the Washington Post write-up in January of 2002, in the closing minutes of the game, 93 blast, a run play to the left side, was sent in the sideline, but Favre changed the call without telling a soul that running back Amon Green would not be getting it. And thus Favre would roll out on a bootleg, and, well, it would be history from there. They'd write tight end Bubba Franks thought it was a run, not a pass. Thus he didn't block Strahan, who got in the backfield with ease. Were the stars aligning? Maybe. Did Favre know what was coming and try to help out Michael Strahan? Maybe. Favre would later say there was good reason not to tell his teammates. Now, let's be clear, because I've seen a lot of people talking about how, well, if you were in the backfield, Michael Strahan, what would you do? Let me be clear about something. Brett Favre played the game at a high speed. He played the game the old-fashioned way, where they didn't care that you were just getting dinged up left and right. We also didn't have, because the NFL didn't want us to know, the intel of the fairly obvious, but the direct link between head injuries and playing football. And Favre had tons of concussions, we now know. And even Dr. Bennett Omalu, who was the doctor that discovered CTE in Mike Webster's brain, told Favre when he was describing these hits and how he felt afterwards, he's saying that those were concussions. Those were minor TBIs, traumatic brain injuries. And thus, when I see some arguing online that, well, he's Strahan's in the backfield, what are you going to do? I mean, I'll tell you, whether the game is out of reach or not, Brett Favre did not like looking bad ever. Even if he would throw up a Hail Mary, he didn't like looking bad. He liked looking tough. So he would either throw it away to avoid the sack, or he would try to get out of it. So, with that being said, recapping the Giants-Packers game after Michael Strahan broke the record. The Hartford Courant would write, Giants finish with a loss and a gift. Favre gets assist on record breaker. That's interesting. The writer, John Altavia, put in his piece, just like the Washington Post article, some of Favre's teammates were frustrated and even wondered why he had rolled right and didn't release the ball like he did many other times during his career. This is straight from a reporter who was covering the team and the game. You even had the pretty eye-opening quotes from Giants players like offensive lineman Lomas Brown. Quote, sure, I was surprised at the play too, but it just shows me what a class act Brett Favre is. I love the dude, and I'm sure he's Michael's best friend now too. Eye-opening. They're praising Brett Favre for what appears to be him handing the record to Michael Strahan. Packers head coach, and I emphasize, Packers head coach Mike Sherman was quoted as saying this: "It certainly appeared to me that Brett missed the handoff. Strahan can get sacks on his own. We don't need to give them to him." I don't know how else to make this argument. Years later, the Valley Morning Star would call it a phantom sack, much like the phantom punch with Muhammad Ali, though there is a stronger case to be made there. And thus, in an exclusive clip for ESPN's 30 for 30 doc, The New York Sack Exchange, love it, Gastineau would confront Favre, and he was taken aback by it. He was taken aback that Gastineau was so pissed. And there have been others who have been saying online, well, he has Alzheimer's, he has dementia. Clearly, his memory is still good with this. He could have that. Have you met somebody who has Alzheimer's? Have you met someone who has dementia? They might not remember a conversation you had 10 seconds ago. And someone in my family has it. So I know this firsthand. It's very hard to watch. It's very hard to be a part of. Okay? And shout out to everyone who is taking care of their loved ones each and every day to try and have a sense of normalcy and continue that loving connection, because that's what family's for, regardless. Their memory from years past is still good. Does anybody remember the Tony Bennett 60 Minutes piece where him and Gaga were talking, and he wasn't really remembering anything that they were discussing a minute prior, 2 minutes prior. But if they sang a song from 20 years ago, he knew it. He knew it like the back of his hand. So don't come at me with that argument. I really hate it, and it's offensive. Please don't do it. When ESPN reached him by phone, Gastineau would say this: "I wanted to let him know it was a trash sack. I've been wanting to do that for a long time, many, many years. I've only got one more guy to go," as I believe he's indicating Michael Strahan. Strahan would see TJ Watt tie him for most sacks in a season. Gastineau got passed over as well by Justin Houston and Jared Allen. Did he get passed over, or was it tied? Live fact check here. Hang on. No, they tied. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. They tied. There was one headline I really didn't like as well from PFT. And let's think about this. Because whether you think the record was stolen or not, I feel strongly about this. If that were you, I don't think you'd be celebrating. I think you would want to be known as the sack king until someone like Jared Allen and Justin Houston tie you, or TJ Watt beats you. I don't think that you would want to be dethroned on that. There are better ways to do it. And he did have some marketing opportunities and some endorsement deals, but imagine how it could have led to more longevity as the sack king over the years. And potentially a case could be made, because I saw even Brett doing it, for him being in the Hall. But we'll never know. What is funny, though, is that Favre would tweet, "I want to clear the air on the footage released showing a small dust-up between myself and Mark Gastineau, the former New York Jet." So here's a thread. Now, before we get into it, just take it in. Just read that first line, because he would get some responses. Oh, boy, would he. Terrell Owens, the NFL Hall of Fame wide receiver, would tweet above it, "While you're clearing the air, clear the air on the misappropriation of funds you were pocketing." Well, damn. In another tweet, Favre and or his team would write, "At no point was I thinking about hurting Gastineau. Maybe it crossed my mind to help Strahan. I didn't think it through. That wasn't my forte at the time." Again, the jokes are writing themselves here. He's like contradicting himself all in one. And look, if this is him writing this and he's being totally honest, I appreciate his honesty. But saying, "At no point was I thinking about hurting Mark Gastineau. Maybe it crossed my mind to help Michael," you are indirectly hurting him then. He's telling you how he's truly feeling right in front of you. More from Favre's Twitter. I see now how being the sack king would elevate his value at card shows, strengthen his case for the Hall, as I was just indicating, increase his demand as a public speaker. I had no way of knowing that then. I realize now the potential financial implications. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.